In this episode, I want to discuss some of the merits of using Bionicle pieces in system mocks. I've seen a lot of builders who tend to just discard Bionicle, Hero Factory, or any of the other Construction themes, but honestly, a lot of the pieces from those sets can be very, very helpful and can really take mocks to new and exciting levels. So let's break down some examples of system mocks that use pieces from Bionicle, Hero Factory, and some of the other obscure Construction themes in really, really cool ways. This first mock here is by Leonard Arn and is called Tia. Now this is just a beautiful mock, but let's take a look at all these different flower designs. He's using some Rakshi Krata pieces to create these awesome sort of bush designs here. Those Krata pieces have that beautiful kind of marbled texture to them, that nice little gradient in color, so it creates a really vibrant looking plant. Additionally, we can see some of these flowers using Ben 10 elements here. This was an obscure Construction theme that came out just as the Bionicle theme ended, and it creates a really nice looking flower design. Additionally, some of these purple pieces here are from a weird theme called Snap. A very weird Lego theme, but it still was a theme from Lego, and it creates a lovely little flower design. So that alone has been 3 really nice flower designs using Construction pieces. They all look fantastic. But let's take a look at this reindeer here. Some of the furrier textures on the neck, that is a piece from some Bionicle Chima Ultra Build sets. Additionally, the body of this reindeer here is using pieces from a Galador set. So a lot of people can discredit Galador. It is one of the most odd and obscure Lego themes after all, but some of the pieces in it are just that beautiful. You can use it to create such organic, lifelike looking designs on this fantastic, well-built reindeer. So don't discredit your Galador and don't discredit any of your Bionicle or Hero Factory, because like we see here, it can be put to good use. But let's take a look at more examples. This mock here is by Disty. It's called Particle Acceleration Laboratory. And this mock here only uses sort of 3 or 4 different pieces here that are more Bionicle or Technic focused. These weapon pieces here, these jet pieces, and a few other Technic pieces thrown in there to create this sort of ring design. All of that together creates this beautiful industrial mechanical looking device of some kind. It perfectly blends in with all these other system elements here. It has this beautiful industrial look to it, and you get to create this beautiful geometric pattern that you just simply couldn't with traditional Lego pieces. And so I think this is a great example of blending Bionicle and blending system together. And it shows that you can produce some very unique and very different results that you simply couldn't without Bionicle. This next mock here is by Oscar Cedarwall and is called Police LEV5 Light Enforcing Vehicle Pursuit Class. So this one is chock-a-block full of all sorts of different pieces from all sorts of different themes here. There's a Stormer mask being used on the front here. Those mask pieces can be so helpful. There's also a leg element from the Star Wars Ultra Build sets. This was specifically from a Stormtrooper set. This piece here comes in a whole bunch of different colors across a lot of the Star Wars Ultra Build figures. And like we see here, it's this beautiful, smooth, organic looking shell that really just has such a distinct look and feel to it. It really takes this mock to a different level, makes it look so sci-fi, so futuristic, so different. Additionally, there is a Slizer visor piece on the very top of this mock here. Slizers, or Throwbots as they're also known as, was another obscure Construction theme, a really cool one. That windshield piece is being put to good use here for sure. So again, this mock is just filled with cool pieces, but one of the coolest is the stand for this mock here. This stand element here is from a Baraki Bionicle canister. So you can even use some of those canister pieces for your mocks. There's all sorts of different possibilities, and they can achieve such beautiful, distinct results that you simply just couldn't achieve with system stuff. Even if you just use 1 or 2 different pieces, it can do a lot for the mock. This one's by Aiden Builds, and it's called the Devour Flower. This one uses Takodox masks from the Bionicle set Takodox. This color is a very obscure and different color that you didn't really see on any system sets. It also glows in the dark too, so if you're planning on playing around with some really distinct and different colors, Bionicle has a whole bunch of them. So take a look at that sort of stuff and see if it works for you. And overall, this is just a beautiful blend of Bionicle and system. This next mock here is General Grievous by Marcin Utabar. So the Star Wars Ultra Build sets are pretty cool. They have such realistic, lifelike looking face and mask designs that are very much screen accurate and actually filled with a lot of detail. And General Grievous is a good example of that. And so what Marcin has done here is taken a couple different elements from the set and that head there and put it on a more accurate looking system body. And that's something you could easily do. If LEGO did end up making one of your favorite Star Wars characters in a Star Wars Ultra Build set, why not revamp the whole body design and make it a lot more screen accurate and load it in with a whole bunch of system details. Another mock here by Nanon. This one is called Iron Builder Arena. Now this uses some Ninjago pieces and some Hero Factory pieces on the sides of this arena here. It's interesting to note that these two pieces flow really well in tandem. The textures are very similar and they just work well off of each other. Some Ninjago sets actually come with certain Hero Factory elements, so it's nice to know that those two pieces can complement each other very well. Additionally, some of these rock elements on the bottom of this diorama here are actually Bionicle. They come on some of the system Bionicle play sets. A bit more of an obscure Bionicle sub-theme, but still LEGO, and they have a very distinct and different rocky texture to them, so it's something to play around with, and it's a very different piece that you could easily put to good use. This next mock here by Jack the Mad is Kupaka Toa of Ice. Maybe you like the whole idea of Bionicle, but just some of these newer pieces are just so different to you. It's harder to build with, it's harder to kind of wrap your head around the whole concept. Or maybe you could still build a humanoid character, like Kupaka here, but mainly build him using system pieces, and instead focus on some of those cooler Bionicle elements, like the masks and the ball and socket connections, because the ball and socket connections naturally have a lot of posability to them. So if you're really in love with the idea of building very posable characters, but the Bionicle system isn't for you, pick and choose the pieces that do work and integrate it with system in ways that works for you. This next mock here is by Mark Stafford and it's called Viper Electrum. So again, some of these weapon pieces were from the Bionicle play sets, and some of these larger weapons were just from Bionicles in general. So all these different silver pieces have lovely edges to them, smoother looks to them that works very well on a little micro scale Vic Viper spaceship here. So it's a good way to use some of those weapon pieces, which Bionicle does have an abundance of. Additionally, this is another mock by Mark Stafford and it's called Vic's Viper. So I've spoken about Bionicle masks before, and they have such beautiful amounts of character to them, but they also have very unique shapes and lines on them. And as we see here on this awesome spaceship, Mark has used them as the front of these fins on the front of the spaceship. And it creates a really beautiful look that's very smooth and angular and really helps this ship have those sort of faster sort of speed lines to them, gives it this beautiful sense of motion and movement. And additionally, there's a trans-blue windscreen on the front there as well, which is also a Bionicle element. So it helps add a little bit more of a distinct and different looking windshield. These mocks by Patrick Biggs are trophies from Bricks Cascade, and it really helps to highlight the awesome detail and awesome amounts of character that are in Bionicle masks, and it's easily something you could use for a statue, interesting detail on a temple or a ruin, all sorts of different things. There's so much potential for Bionicle masks. And finally, this mock by Patrick Biggs is called Ruinous Road, and it shows a great way of playing around with scale. Obviously with Bionicle characters you can build much larger figures that can tower over a system diorama, but maybe that's exactly what you want to do, is to play around with scale on your next system mock. And so you could build a Bionicle as a larger character that interacts with this smaller vignette or smaller world that you're building with system pieces. So that's been a whole bunch of different ways of playing around with Bionicle pieces, Hero Factory pieces, Slicer pieces, Ben 10 pieces, all sorts of different construction themes. These pieces are really helpful and can take your mocks to really cool and exciting levels. So next time you get a bit of Bionicle, don't just throw it away. Think about how it could expand your mock and take it into some cool new places. If you're looking for more tips and tricks with how you can play around with your bricks, head over to Tips and Bricks over on Facebook and Instagram for more LEGO brick building techniques. Additionally, links to all the mocks you saw in today's episode are in the links below in the description, so be sure to check that out, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks guys, bye for now.